Do you still have the same uncertainty about next year?
Yeah, I mean, I want to live.
I found some stuff that, in my opinion, is bad for kids.
I think something was found up there, which is why we didn't go back.
Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Hope everyone out there is having a good day, y'all. Make sure you guys watch from start to finish. I can't stress that enough. That really helps the channel grow. Y'all have been doing a killer job at that. But with that being said, let's get into the video, y'all. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Do you still have the same uncertainty about next year? Do you have an inkling of what you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I want to live. When I know, you guys will know. I don't know. I have no idea. I just want to live. That's all.
LeBron James, let me tell you something about LeBron. We're talking about Antarctica, the Cell of the Fallen Angels. No other team in the NBA wants him. His time is up. I can't wait to see these shorts. His time is up. No team wants him. He's got one more year. And when he retires, his number would be called to either him, his wife, his daughter, or one of his sons. Somebody has to be sacrificed because we allowed you, LeBron, to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm telling you how these deep state devils think. They want blood. Okay? We gave you what you want. You're the greatest scorer in NBA history. We need someone to be liquidated. His number will be called. And you got a lot of listeners. Oh, you're saying he's going to die? I'm not saying he's going to die like Kobe. Something's about to come up. Be called. You see, anyone on that line, especially the rappers. We talked about this the first time I was on your power show. To go higher into the rap industry, you have to be butt broken, like you say, in humiliation. Okay? And so they're butt broken. That's the system. And if you don't want to give in, they're trying to destroy you. But LeBron James, so let me say this and we're going to end it here today. LeBron James' days are numbered.
That's crazy.
His days are numbered.
The real reason I keep telling people that Iran is not bluffing is because they're not considering this. Iran claims its hypersonic missiles can reach speeds above Mach 11. At that speed, defense becomes a guess. An aircraft carrier cost over $10 billion. There's thousands of Americans on board, and it was built to withstand everything except time. Hypersonic missiles don't follow predictable paths. They can maneuver mid-air. If a target moves, the missile can follow. Detection windows shrink to minutes and sometimes even seconds. Iran has been claiming it has thousands of missiles. Whether that number is accurate or not, the message is deterrence. In modern warfare, you don't need to fire the weapon. You just need your appointment to believe that you can. For more information on geopolitics and how to best position yourself for the future, follow me on IG.
Oh my god. What the fuck? My dishwasher's beeping now too. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's crazy. She used to play with it like that.
Do you hear it? I'm telling you. Oh my god. Dude. I'm telling you, it's Jeanette.
7777.
Tommy Lister said this about Hollywood years ago, and it's still absolutely true to this day.
I'm the most feared man in Hollywood. They don't like me in Hollywood.
Why do they not like you?
I don't wear dresses. I don't do that gay stuff on TV. You have to get some other black person to do that stuff. That's gunning. But they all confess they love the Lord. But you cannot compromise yourself if you love the Lord. Young kids want to be soldiers. Young kids don't want to follow a guy to wear a dress.
And boy, are they guiding our youth to that mindset. Big time, y'all. Big time.
when a person is sacrificed, like Kanye West, Kanye was a prime example of somebody. Lots of celebrities say this, by the way. Yeah. Oh yeah. Kanye was a prime example of somebody who was involved in the occult, who tried to leave it, but didn't give back the demon what it owed him. Okay, and you will see, this is what happens to people that try, like, bro, he got into his position acknowledging whatever occult voice he was listening to in his head, and then was a part of these little parties or whatever these things were, got to that position, realized, oh crap, I'm in deep. I sacrificed my mom. I did a bunch of bad stuff. I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I don't want this anymore in my life. He's like, I gotta back up. Like, so like, you know, he tried to back up, but that's the thing. The demon backing out once you're there. The demon gave him the power and the money and the control that he already has. What makes you think you're gonna walk away and eat your cake too, bro? You owe him still. You have to give up your money. You give up your stuff. You give up your fame. You give up what you've been given. Give up the money. And then you might be able to walk away. Because the demon's like, okay. But if you try to hang on to the stuff that you got and think you can walk away, like, look at me. You're holding your deal. I know lots of stuff.
Are they like just making shit up? I've worked with tools my whole life, and this socket is not even on the nut. There you have it.
I think something was found up there, which is why we didn't go back. For me, it all hinges on Edgar Mitchell because I trust and believe him. And if he says he walked on the moon, then I believe him. But I think something was found up there that maybe the government didn't want us to find.
There's clearly lying around it. I mean, that's what we know.
And that's what makes this so difficult is because we know they lie about all these things. We run around in circles. The waters are muddied. And I think that's kind of the whole point of it.
It may be because simply because I know you're lying does not mean I know what the truth is.
Correct.
And that is true for so many different things, some of which I have like very close proximity to, where like I know for a fact you're lying. Like you basically told me you're lying, but I can only guess as to why.
Right.
Look at these pictures and go to images, okay? And look what Iran look like. This is Iran. That's not Aspen. That's not Whistler.
So they don't get snow no more,
Lake
or what?
Tahoe. That's not Big Bear. That's not Montana. That is Iran, folks. Iran looked like that in the 70s. You ain't got that going on today. You got to have a hijab while you're going down skiing. It was a very different climate then than today.
Is it a different climate here in America that they're projecting it that way? I mean, are those magazines still out? Are people still dressed like that? I mean, we see it all the time. We on my second channel, I post Americans going abroad, you know, living abroad, and they're like, what the heck? I was told so much. When you come to China, everyone's wearing a mask. There's pollution everywhere. There's sweatshops. They got nets on the Apple buildings. But when they go, it's freaking luxury. You know what I mean? They don't allow them to sell their vehicles over here, bring their phones over here. So is Iran like that, different in hijabs or whatever, because America's telling us that? Or is that how it is really? I don't know. We don't know because we can't travel there. I don't know. I don't think we can travel there. And if they do, America says be careful. It's very dangerous. So we don't.
The greatest city in the world, at one point, San Francisco, is now a third world country. Downtown San Francisco is a third world country.
Look at this.
And we watched in one weekend that Newsom said, San Francisco law enforcement is a failure. I'm going to be the savior, and I'm going to send the highway patrol in and clean up our city in a weekend because the Chinese president's coming. And in one weekend, they cleaned up the entire downtown San Francisco. And they made it out like local San Francisco police was not doing their job. Highway patrol had to go in and do it. But that really wasn't the reality. The San Francisco police is prevented from doing their job. But they want they want you to think that the residents or that local law enforcement wasn't protecting them. And the big hero ride in on the white horse and save everybody and clean up the town.
They've gone and they found what the breaking point is on prices for whether it be our homes or our food or anything else. It used to be if we go past this certain point, we won't sell as many units. And they stopped caring about the unit sales because they realized, oh, we can make up for them by just charging more to everybody. And yeah, we'll lose that 2% over here. That 2% can't afford it anymore. They're not trying to sell as many units as possible. They're trying to make as much money as possible. And that switch is what's fundamentally broken our country.
Yeah.
When you look at the one big one everyone keeps pointing to is Chipotle. Chipotle has recently said they're going to aim for more of an upper middle class market because they don't want to sell as many burritos at a lower price.
Yeah.
They want to sell less burritos for more than more burritos for less. and that's their entire view of it. And it's
It's a
just
crazy
like
mindset,
such
I
garbage
think.
shit.
Yeah.
Because that's not how you feed people, and that's not how you actually process anything.
Yeah.
How can nobody?
I mean, I think that's a terrible business scheme, right? I mean, I just take it down to like watching drug dealer movies. Like, let's say Paid in Full. You know, that dude was making so much money because he charged half the price. So by the time you sell your one, I sold 4 to make 2, double what you made, right? I think if Chipotle dropped their prices, they would make so much more money because so much more people would be going. But they're so greedy that they're like, I'd rather sell less and make you pay more for one. By the time they sell that one, they probably could have sold 4 of these. You know what I mean? And made double that. But they're greedy, y'all. Greedy everywhere.
Talking
I don't
about
understand
the
it.
fact that Taliban is holding American hostages while we pay them
Yes.
$87 million a week.
And we have a law that can stop the money today if they're holding an American.
And the White House is interfering with this too?
Yes. We have 2 Americans alive in Taliban custody, and then we have a third that likely is dead and we need his body returned.
Who are they?
We have obviously Mahmoud Shah Habibi, who I've told you about, Dennis Cole, he's an older American, and then unfortunately the last person's Paul Overby. He's been in custody or he's deceased for 11 years. A lot of people
Damn.
think he's deceased, so the US government wants like his remains in his case. So we know 2 are alive for sure. But again, no American knows any of these names.
I remember literally last year,
I
I
didn't
don't know if
know
y'all
that.
remember, Mexico gave us pictures of little aliens.
They did.
And niggas was just like,
Yeah,
what
I
the fuck? I
forgot
don't
about
give a fuck about this shit. They literally showed us mummified
Bruh,
aliens.
I was going crazy, man. I'm showing everybody there like, man, bro, that shit ain't
Me
real.
too.
That's
I
fake.
seen that shit
Oh,
to like
that's
30
fake.
people. If you go to my DM on Instagram, I seen that shit to so many people.
Bro, everybody
Nobody
keep telling
cared.
me that nobody give a fuck. I'm like, bro, am I the only nigga who saw this?
Yeah, I'm like, bro, we finally got aliens.
And then there's this video.
So one of my best friends, she's not here today. She was human trafficked by Naomi Campbell. And Naomi is also Diddy's the godmother. I was going to say godfather because I think Naomi is not a woman.
You don't?
No, I don't. I don't think she is a woman. That's just my feeling.
Okay.
I've spoken with her.
It's going down out there, y'all. In a big tourist, American tourist spot. They run it out there. You know, I'm all for it, y'all. Yesterday's video, I was saying, like, when they did that in the airport, if that happened here, that dude would either get offed, he'd either get, you know, off himself, or he's getting thrown in prison for life under the jail, right? Out there, they go home. Like, they've been getting away with, like, little kids getting away with everything. You're allowed to kill. You're allowed to hang people from bridges. You're allowed to do all these things. Like, it's about time people start taking control of these things and disciplining these people, y'all. There's consequences to your actions, and for a very long time, you know, there has been no consequence. It's been the Wild West. You do what you want, right? You do what you want, and we're in on it. You know what I mean? And it's about damn time.
7 minutes from the Conjuring House. I also do metal detecting, right? It's just a hobby of mine. I like to go out into the woods and dig up old treasure, old coins. There's this guy from Connecticut who I look up to as a metal detector. He befriended me because of the band and said, wait, you live right near the Conjuring House. He goes, dude, you got to get us permission to do that. I'm like, I'm not digging up anything on the Conjuring House land. So on the way to the foundation, it's beautiful back there, beautiful old colonial woods, there's stone walls everywhere, 1700s. And something happens to me, like some sort of energy made me stop. Like it was either nauseous mixed with dizziness, and I had to sit down. It felt like I was walking for days, literally incapacitated. Something was pushing me down, like, you're not going any farther. I'm messing with you today. The minute I got out of those woods, perfectly fine.
I've never been to the Grand Canyon.
Me either. I want to go.
Okay,
I just went. It's a certain
We
feeling
gotta
you
go.
get there.
Yeah.
Like no other.
Closest I got is watching Will jump out of a helicopter. But when they said there's certain places you can't go, I cannot wait to go.
Well,
80% of it is owned by the government.
Why do you think that is?
The whole country is owned by the government.
Yeah. Can't go down. They
In certain
will
parts, yeah, they'll
come
lock
after
you
you
up.
if we go down there.
You know, I lived in Northridge at one time. One day, I'm showing my brother, you can go literally on top of this mountain. And we go up there, and I never paid attention. attention to this green fence. It felt like Interstellar. I was like, what's this fence? And my brother goes, well, they said do not enter. Who's going to stop us? As we turned the corner, it was a soldier there. And he was like, please back on the other side of the... I was like, whoa!
Listening to everybody.
Gas when moved everybody out of Porter Ranch. It doesn't come from just the cows. It comes from silos. Right off the soda. Straight DeSoto ends, right? Then it's a curve. You go up and you go all the way up to there. Those are silos. Those are where our nukes are. And you get off the freeway and you go right and you're going to go up this and then you can't go. Right. I kept going. So you can hike. No, you can't hike. I think the same thing happened in the Grand Canyon. I think they had literally figured out a way of putting things there. We have to have nukes someplace. People think the nukes are in the water. No, they got to put them in a place that they can get to. And they can't have nosy Americans going around taking pictures and selfies next to a nuclear warhead. So they're going to make sure that those things are hidden.
I think a portal down there, man.
Well, I think there's portals down there only because if you look at the type of rocks down there, so they have quartz, a lot of red rock quartz.
Yeah.
And it's highly conductive and a lot of lightning hits it.
Pyramids have that too.
Yeah, so they're saying that those can be possibly stargates because of the lightning and how they can harness that energy.
You can make a portal right here in this room if you wanted to, if we all meditated at the same frequency.
We were talking about that the other day.
When I was in India, I did a documentary and we called it The Missing Piece, Peace. And we were right in the Himalaya. The energy at that place was amazing. So I think you can make a portal, may not be a circle that we walk through, but we can definitely transcend if you think at a higher level. I studied Kabbalah too. And when I was into martial arts heavy and I was playing for Miami, I didn't like the coach. I wasn't playing my best. He was like, what did that ever do to you? He was so damaged that he didn't realize how he was treating me. And then he had another brother trying to hurt me on court. He didn't get it. Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And Master Barons would sit down before I went to the game and they would sit and meditate, and it was called floating me. And they would kind of put me in a hypnotic state. I'd get 19 points, 12 rebounds. It was amazing what the mind can do, how powerful the mind is. So you could go to these portals without going through something like you see in the movie. This is a little bit different.
Yeah. It's always in the movies. That's why I like a lot of the Marvel movies, because they put it in plain sight with that stuff.
Yeah.
It really is, y'all. Like, that's something everybody can do. Everybody has time to meditate, me included, and we don't. You know what I mean? So busy, so distracted. Like, all it takes is just 10 minutes of just sitting there. You don't have to have your eyes closed and just try not to think. That's it. And as days go on, it starts becoming easier. And then you start realizing, they're just throwing all these thoughts at me. And then you start controlling it. It'd be a cool thing to just say, for 30 days, I'm going to sit here 10 minutes a day and not think, right? I'm going to, when thoughts come, I'm going to quiet them and master that. Can you imagine if you can master that? And everybody has that power. Everybody can do it, including me, y'all. That's something that I've always wanted to do, but you just don't.
Wasn't there some crazy shit with the CIA, Jesus?
They wanted to play a trick on the people in Cuba and flash a kind of hologram of Jesus over Havana, trying to instigate the Cubans to revolt against Castro. Like, Jesus is here now, right? And you communists, you're anti-Jesus, you're anti-religion. Well, I'm Jesus, I'm floating above you. Rise up and overthrow Castro. That was the plan. They didn't do it.
Was this in actual documents?
Yeah.
Declassified documents?
Yeah.
This is crazy. I'm guessing this is a test run. What kind of balls does that pilot have, y'all? Those things are coming in. If it hits it, that thing's blowing up. You don't got time to eject. Is anybody even in that plane? Is somebody remote controlling it? Do you know? Oh, damn, what the heck?
That's crazy, bro. There's yellowish discoloration around his eyes. This is a clear sign of jaundice, liver damage from oral abuse, or some type of pills that he's taking. I would assume it's gear. He's abusing this shit to the max with absolutely no regards to his health. And by the way, I don't know if he's wearing contacts or some weird shit, but when I see his face here, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
Guys,
You know, it's so crazy. That dude had a heart attack on camera, y'all. We're doing a YouTube video and just passed out, had a heart attack. You know, and all of these people, like back in the day, I mean, even if they were like the Chris Jones, the Christian Guzmans, you know, all these, you know, Nick Wright, that's old school if you remember him, like all these old school, you know, so-called natural body lifters. I don't know if they're natural or not, but they didn't like come out and say like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You know, now that's what they're coming out. They're trend twins. They got the big YouTube channel, the Sam Solik or whatever, like big YouTube channels, and they just come out straight up and say, I'm doing steroids. And now all these young kids are 20-year-olds taking testosterone and taking steroids. Like they're just misleading the youth, y'all. Like it's so crazy that like so much people are on these hardcore drugs, not realizing that, you know, when they get older, they're going to deal with these consequences. But people just live in the now so much, and they follow these content creators, and they're all steroided up, and they don't hide it now, y'all. They tell you. It's
News
a
from other
shame.
countries that we are not being told, but they are being told. One being that Germany has considered America unsafe officially to travel to. Canada doesn't consider our medical research valid anymore. They say that it is to be considered as untrue
Get this clip.
because of the political affiliation with our educational system. These are all alleged. Other countries think that we will no longer be having any other elections and that this is going to be how it is for the rest of our lives. Other countries consider us not a first world country anymore, based on freedom of press, freedom of expression, our education, our
It's a war zone out here.
political freedoms. They don't consider us a first world country anymore. North Korea has stated that we are going too far. Let that one sink in. Romania is allegedly no longer allowed to ship anything to the United States. It is considered unsafe. And then this one really freaked me out. The Dutch have considered officially that Trump is more dangerous than Hitler.
Damn.
Let me know anything else that we may not be knowing.
Eyes Wide Shut is tons of messaging. Do you have any idea what that movie's about?
No.
At all.
I've never seen
At
it.
all. Okay, let me tell you what it's about.
All right.
It's about the world of elites and the dark, I'm going to say it nicely, the dark, depraved overlords.
It doesn't exist. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I'm not going to say no
As if
names.
you're getting paid. I mean, doesn't
I've been
exist.
there.
No, everything's just happy. Polka dot
the
and rainbows.
overlords that are above all the heads of government, that group of people, that group of people that are controlling the world that nobody knows
That's
about.
what that movie is. Many things
Well,
about
it might be about it, but that's a bunch of horse shit. As far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, Eyes Wide Shut. It's the only way to watch that movie. With your eyes wide shut.
I got the joke, but I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to pay a fee. So where does the insurance part come in?
You know, I don't understand these people that their phones are always breaking. Like, I buy a case on Amazon, I don't know, $10. It's shock proof. I dropped this phone. I've never broken a phone. I've never cracked a phone. I've never cracked a screen. I've never done none of that, y'all. And I just got a little $10 case. That's it. I don't understand these people who break cameras and break their phones. Like, what are you doing? Are these kids just don't take care of their stuff no more? I don't know what it is, but I've never broken. I've jumped in a swimming pool once. I had it in my pocket. Samsung Galaxy 3, I believe it was, a white one. Jumped in the pool with it. Realized 5 minutes later my phone was in my pocket. That's the only phone I ever damaged in my life.
Dude, there are aliens. And you know what these aliens are? They're demons. They're fallen angels. Don't forget it. Okay. They're demonic.
He said okay.
They're demons. From one blood to another. They're demonic. They're demons. They're fallen angels. All right.
I have a friend, former CIA officer, and he
It's
says
Tuesday.
that a decision
has been made to attack Iran on Monday or Tuesday.
That was a former CIA agent who is now a whistleblower, exposing that Trump plans on attacking Iran by at least Tuesday, potentially marking the start of World War III. And if you've been paying attention to this guy, you know it's not the first time this whistleblower has exposed Trump and his plans. In this tweet, he mentions how since Trump's first term, the US has been stacking resources into some kind of reserve, and how everything in Venezuela, Greenland, and Iran line up with this. And some people are starting to connect the dots that there could be a huge money play behind all of this, and this post ties it together. It explains their plan to create a Western asset reserve, which is used to tokenize real-world assets underneath Trump's crypto company World Liberty Fi using BlackRock infrastructure under the ticker WAR. And they've been trying to keep this under wraps, but if we track insider wallets within BlackRock, we see that they've been quietly accumulating a large amount of this coin. And coincidentally, the same wallets that were insiders on the Trump coin that made millions overnight are now accumulating WAR. So it is becoming extremely evident to me that this is the next big insider play that they don't want us to know about. But this is not financial advice. Do your own research. Nothing is for sure. But I am adding on this. And if you want to follow along, comment WAR down below and I will send you the exact CA.
Do you remember the 77th Infantry Division, the old bastards, where the average age was 35? My buddy found one that's still alive. He was 19 at the time, and he was one of the reinforcements that got sent in. And they're going through all these cave networks that the Japanese were occupying, and they keep finding the officers' chests, and there's all this Japanese currency in it. Well, they're Marines. They're using it as toilet paper, playing poker and with it. It's Monopoly money, right? Well, he was playing poker and he won a bunch of it, and he took it with him. He was just going to send it home to be a souvenir. Well, he follows them through the rest of the campaign, and he ends up being in Japan during the occupation. And during the occupation, he was allowed to exchange it for US dollars. And it ended up being 30,000 US dollars in 1945. He wired it back home and paid for him to go to medical school. And that's how he became a doctor.
I expect a gang leader from every gang, all 55 gangs, and I'm not going to name them by name, but I'm calling the Latino gangs. I'm calling the Cambodian gangs. I'm calling the Filipino gangs. I'm calling the black gangs. I'm calling the Pacific Islander gangs. I'm calling all gang leaders to meet me right here to take back this city.
At the beginning, he goes, I want all 55 gangs of Long Beach to come to this beautiful city. And it's like, how beautiful can it be? You have over 40 gangs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of gang activity for a beautiful city.
It's curious, too. He's calling out the Latino, Cambodian, Filipino, Black, Pacific Islander gangs. I would argue there's probably a couple of white supremacist gangs in Long Beach.
I know those dudes.
They didn't get the call.
No, I did a corporate for those guys out in Long Beach not that long ago. Who are the politicians that put a camera in their face and say these things out loud? Criminal statements, essentially. And then they always do the same thing. They do the same thing all the time. They go, come out, make your voice heard, push back, stand in between. Listen, you're talking about fighting law enforcement. Right. That's what you're talking about. They go peacefully. The whole problem with peacefully, it'd be like if somebody said, look, somebody's going to key your car and then they're going to spray paint it and then they're going to pop the tires. But you just peacefully observe.
Right.
Well, eventually you have to get involved. Otherwise, you don't stop them. I mean, how can you stop somebody from doing something and then stand and watch? You either get involved or you don't. And his thing is get involved. They're all saying get involved. When they say come back, stand up. By the way, stand up to, what does that mean? Pull up his chair and watch? Stand up, get in their face, push back. What does push back mean? It means push back.
It means literally push back.
This is the most insane time in our country's history.
Let me tell you something. You know we're done as a country when a mayor of a major city is calling for gangs who don't pay taxes, I'm guessing, who sell drugs, who kill people, who extort your local workers for help. To help I'm guessing with these protests and whatnot. That is when society is done, when you're asking criminals who should be arrested, who should be shut down, who's been terrorizing the city since the 70s, 80s, who have been terrorizing people, regular 9 to 5 tax paying people who can't even walk down the street, who can't have their kids go outside and play. And you're asking these people to come out and help. Help out, guys. We appreciate you if you would. That's crazy, y'all. Think about that.
I don't give a fuck what nobody say, right? You can eat right. You can exercise right. You can do everything right. If you live life without attention, without purpose, you're gonna die. Right? The only way your body know to live is when you have purpose. And that goes by your attentions. That's why I say everybody walking dead because they about to die because their body already fucking dead. They the walking dead. Right? So that can't be true. Death and life is the same. That's what a lot of people don't know. You're trying to separate shit. Everything is one. You can't separate death from life. How can you do that? How can you separate death from life when there's no such thing as death? How can you separate them? How can you do that? They're all both one and the same. Like love is one and the same. Like pain is actually love. Because people don't understand this. There people don't understand. I was just say this for everybody watching this. I don't give a fuck about y'all feelings. I don't give a fuck about y'all. But I'm going to tell you this. Pain is the biggest teacher ever. People run from pain, so therefore they're not taught. On GD, on VD, on Vice Lord, on Larry, nigga, on 4 on Crip, nigga, on 5-5 Crip, nigga, on Blueface. On Blueface. You do the interview better, but you need to do it better. On Blueface.
Now I noticed, you got a lot of
Blueface.
Egyptian art
On Blueface. No,
here in your living room.
I'm Egyptian.
I picked up the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
That was sitting on your
Yeah,
stand.
dig Moses bitch ass up and tell him stop stealing from that book then. Moses a fucking thief. Yeah, he got the 10 Commandments out of that book. That came from Egypt. Because Moses bitch ass was shipped to Egypt. Because they thought Moses was about to die. So they shipped Moses to Egypt. Moses learned from the king and then he backdoored him. He backdoored him, tried to steal the information and get on that mountain and tell people to sell their houses and give them all the fucking money. And when they ain't give him all the money, he came down and killed them. That's the man that represent God.
Is that what this book about?
Yeah, no, that book is like the essence. Listen, let me tell you this, right? The Book of the Dead is like this, right? People think that that's the first thing that we have of spirituality. That they're the first people that get the message. That's a lie. They were the first people to record it where we can understand it. The first people that got the message is what we know as the cavemen. The cavemen were smart. They was intelligent. They was energy workers. They had doctors, right? Listen, I'm just trying to keep it real. So they were the first one to record it. But they was the first one to record it in physical language. So that's where all the Dead Sea Scrolls and everything come from, the Book of the Dead. Right? So everything come from the Book of the Dead. But here's the problem with memory, everybody didn't remember it right. Like it's 42 laws in there, 42 commandments. Moses only can remember 10.
Like, so you could spend like a whole year inside California exposing fraud. $24 billion went missing to homeless. That train that they try to build, that they've been trying to build forever. I mean, the NGOs there, like it's crazy.
That is standards equal across the board. I'm sick of the social experiments. We're done. If you can't do 15 pull-ups, you're out. I don't care if you're a male, a female, brown, white, black, Chinese. I don't care. If you can't meet the standard, you're not here. Thank God. Finally, somebody said it. I mean, outside of the Marine Corps, everybody basically lowered the standard. Everybody did. I'm so glad he brought it back. No more of that. It doesn't make us better. It doesn't.
To do the DEI stuff that we were doing.
No. Weakening the force does not help anybody. It doesn't. Lowering the standard. If you look at in the 40s and 50s, high school gymnasium class, what they were doing. Rope climbs, every single person, the monkey bars, O course, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, running. Like, they don't even do a mile run in school anymore. The physical standard has dropped so far. It's not a matter of nutrition, science, data, exercise. I mean, we have all the data here to make superhumans, and for whatever reason, we just don't want to do it.
I don't know why either.
Everybody,
I don't know
in
why.
my opinion, everybody should be walking around looking like Dolph Lundgren off Rocky IV. Like, your physical presence matters. When you see guys go through a threshold, they should be the most intimidating people on the planet.
Anything about
I don't know why. I say this all the time. Why is America? Yeah, it's our choice. We could choose not to eat this. We can choose not to eat that. But they put highly they know it's very difficult, and they make it difficult. There's fast food everywhere. There's stuff in the grocery store. There's this and that in other countries they don't do this, but it's American. I don't know if it's American made, like let's just say McDonald's, but it was created in America, right? Its foundation is in America. But our food in America is highly addictive. 50,000 ingredients in some French fries. When you go to another country, I'm guessing this is what people say. When you go to another country and you get the McDonald's, there's like 3 or 4 ingredients. Like, why are they poisoning us? Is it just so they can make profit? Or is it something deeper than that, that they don't want us to wake up mentally to the BS? That's probably what it is, y'all. That's what it is.
The tickets in a box, your money's in a box, your phone's in a box, TV's in a box, where you live's in a box, your house is in a box. Everything's in a box. So when you graduated, that's why they put the box on your head, because now you can't think outside it.
So that's an absolute fact. Because to truly find freedom, we must learn to be a free thinker.
I don't want y'all to think y'all could be broke and still doing this. Y'all need to learn how to get money, man.
Gotta get the cheese.
We're securitizing these agreements. And being able to, your soul is being traded on Wall Street at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, that's where it leads to. The dollar bill is, it's not backed by gold no more. That's a promissory note.
Yeah, so our economy, our dollar is backed by our economy.
Your labor.
Yeah, because like
you are the gold now.
Facts. Because if Wall Street was to crash, the dollar has no value now.
At all.
Why am I just now finding out that Ashton Kutcher was supposed to go on a date with a girl on the same night she was brutally unalived? So this was back on February 21st, 2001, and the girl Ashton had been seeing at the time was 22-year-old Ashley Ellerin. Ashton had invited Ashley to a Grammys after party and said that he would come pick her up at her apartment and they would go from there to this party together. Well, he called her around 8:24 that night, letting her know that he was running late. According to Ashton, he got to her apartment around 10:30 or 10:45, and at this point she wasn't answering the phone. Even more concerning is when Ashton notices that the security gate leading to her apartment was left open. So he walks up the stairs and knocks on the door to Ashley's apartment, but there was no answer. But he notices that all of the lights in the apartment were on, so he tries the door handle, but it's locked. So he goes and peeks into a window and sees what he thinks is a red wine stain on the floor. Despite all of this, he left and went to the party alone. The following morning, Ashley's roommate Jennifer came back to their apartment and found Ashley's body lying in a pool of blood. She had been stabbed 47 times.
Jeez.
When Ashton discovered that Ashley had been unalived in her apartment, he immediately called police to let them know that his fingerprints would be all over her place since the two of them had been seeing each other and since he was there to pick her up on the night in question. And police never really look into Ashton as a potential suspect. They instead focus on Ashley's neighbor, a man named Michael, who would later be deemed a serial killer called the Hollywood Ripper for unaliving other women that lived nearby. Although Michael's DNA would never be found in Ashley's apartment, he was still convicted of her unaliving, and Ashton Kutcher was a witness in the trial. But where things get really interesting is years later, when Danny Masterson was exposed for being a terrible person. Shortly after that, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis's letters to a judge on Danny's case were leaked, and these letters were basically testifying to Danny's character, how they believed he was such a good person and a huge role model for them. Well, one of Danny's victims posted this on Instagram, saying, "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you, ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor."
He was trying to get Jeffrey Epstein on the Joe Rogan Experience in 2017.
Oh my God.
You know, it's like, bro. At that point, and he said in the past, he was quoted as saying, like, well, I only ever saw Jeffrey around young women who were 21 or 22, so I assumed that I believed him, took him at his word when he said he wasn't.
Funny, because that's exactly what Peter Mandelson said, until the picture was released of him in his underwear with a 16-year-old, not realizing that he was being photographed.
So I was sent this somewhat viral video where this guy is in a grocery store and is highlighting the number of options you have for Dawn soap, all with somewhat meaningless distinctions. And he was like, dude, help me understand the psychology behind this packaging strategy. And for better or for worse, retail and CPG happens to be this niche that I work in. So basically, here are 3 reasons why you see so many options from the same brand. The first reason is it's a defensive strategy. Now, the ways that stores like Target, Whole Foods, Walmart plan their shelves is through these things called planograms, which seem fairly self-explanatory. If you are Dawn soap, for example, the area that all soap products may have may be limited to this. So if you just have one product, it's like, okay, well, all this other space remains. And that means other competitors can slot their products in there. But if I have a bunch of different variants and options, I can push the retailer to give me more of these, what are called facings. And in doing so, I crowd out the opportunity for any other emerging brand to take one of these slots. Number two is what we can call total market coverage. Say I'm shopping for toothpaste. Maybe I'm a guy and I'm just like, hey, you know what? My teeth are kind of yellow. I'm looking for the Max White. But maybe there's someone else there who has bad breath. So they're like, you know what? I want the Max Fresh one. And someone else comes in and they're like, yeah, I want Max Fresh, but I want a different flavor. You start to see that all of these products are basically functionally the same, but a brand like Colgate wants to make sure they can capture every type of customer preference. Again, so that these customers don't go buy Arm & Hammer. Number three, when you're shopping in retail, most of the purchase decisions that are being made are just kind of happening impulse in aisle. So there's this idea that the more visibility you have, the more facings you have, that can actually meaningfully drive sales of your kind of total product and brand. Because what's most important in this context is just getting a shopper's attention, and you can get that through visibility, through the shelf real estate. So that is how we end up with all of this. Is it necessary for the consumer? No, not really. But so here we are.
I just arrived to this newly discovered tomb here, and check out these hieroglyphics. So this here, you know who this is? This is actually Tutankhamun here, and this is his mother. And what he's doing is Tutankhamun is giving his mother a key, okay? Now you wonder, what is that key for? What is he doing? Well, let's enter the tomb. So as we enter the tomb, we have all these hieroglyphics telling the stories of the people coming to this tomb, bringing offerings and celebrating this individual. And then look at this. As we approach, way back here, we see this door. See, and look at the keyhole. There's a keyhole in the bottom of the door. Now, this isn't an actual door. This is to resemble the door going to the afterlife. And what it was is Tutankhamun was giving his mother this key so that she could unlock the door to visit him, to receive him, to find him in the afterlife. And Tutankhamun was buried not far from here in the Valley of the Kings, which I'll be going in a couple of days. But here in this tomb, this is the tomb for the lady that took care of Tutankhamun his entire life. You can think of her like a stepmother. Her name is Maya. This is the tomb of Maya. And she is buried under my feet here. I just went down this tunnel and went to the burial chamber here a moment ago. And it's so, so incredible. Actually, let me show you Maya. So this is Maya. This is the woman that took care of Tutankhamun his entire life, kind of like a nanny. And she was buried here. And this was only discovered 1 year ago. It was completely buried under sand. They had no idea there was any tomb here. And it's still being
How much history is buried, y'all?
There's literally piles of human bones just right behind me. This is amazing. Egypt is amazing. Like, I can't even believe I'm here right now.
They sent all the heads of your local workers to your front gate? Holy shit. How many heads? Did you know these guys?
Did not. But the night prior, my platoon commander comes in and he's like, everyone's gonna write their death letter.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I got goosebumps even thinking about that. Because at the time, I didn't know. I saw some guys get shrapnel wounds. I heard the stories of the heads. I seen and hear the explosions. But then I'm told to write my own death letter. And I'm like, what do you say? What do I do? And I had a girlfriend at the time, so I wrote a letter to her. My parents were in my life. I wrote a letter to my parents. And we all turned our letters over to our platoon commander. And that's when I knew shit was fucking real.
Do you still have those letters?
I don't.
What'd you write?
I really don't remember. I wrote what an 18-year-old kid probably would.
Damn,
I was
18,
motivated
y'all.
at the time, so I probably wrote some shit like, I'm dying for, I fought for my country, I fought for my team. I love you guys, I miss you.
You think your parents still have that letter?
Probably.
No, my parents got more than a letter later.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for that.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Right on. I mean, that's fucking demoralizing.
Yeah, it was pretty demoralizing, but at the same time, I didn't know any different. None of us knew. No one knew. And I get it. Some people might be thinking, "Oh, dude, it's war. What did you expect?" But no, I've been to war. This was hell. This was something that shaped my life for the rest of my life. As long as I live, I will never forget that.
Everybody probably knows, like all the Mexicans there, they probably know where the white people are. I mean, like it's the same as anything, right? Like if the cartel wanted to go around and just like, indiscriminately shoot white people, yeah, you go to the tourist areas and you go shoot them. Like, but I bet they probably don't want to do that, honestly, because then that would probably aggro the United States, or it would aggro China. You saw like some of those videos. There's like Chinese people, I believe, that were like at the airport. Cartels won't touch them. Yeah, I mean, it's a very, like, it's a known thing that the cartels generally don't want to involve themselves with the United States. Is that, like from their mind, right? Think about it. We've got a good thing going here, right? We sell drugs. We do whatever the fuck we want, and we don't fuck with them, and they will not come down and put the Eye of Sauron on us and the Goy beam on us, and we're just chilling, right? Everything's fine. And so it's a little bit of a, just like, leave us alone, we'll leave you alone, right? I mean, it's smart. I mean, wouldn't that be, if you were the cartel, that's what you would do.
I mean, they own those resorts where the white people are. They own those resorts. Making money off it. They're getting very rich off of that. That's a side hustle. They're not going to go poop where they eat, right? That's how they make their money too. But if it hits the fan, I don't know. Will they go do it? Like, let's say America went in there and started handling business. Are they going to start doing that? Because they can. They can. I don't know.
Stuff that, in my opinion, is bad for kids. So the first one was a game called Public Bathroom. I registered as an 8-year-old. So I go into this public bathroom game that was not locked. It was not filtered. So I go in and it's like a kind of YMCA style, just massive indoor pool. And then around, the thing that was not like the YMCA was that around the edges of the pool were beds. There's characters humping each other on the beds and making very sexual noises.
Oh my gosh.
And it's in stereo. So as you walk around, you can hear the one on the left and you can hear the one on the right. So I leave the pool area and I walk into the bathroom component, which is the main theme of the game. And then so you have bathroom stalls and then you have these like bathtubs with curtains, shower curtains. And there's people going in and out of the stalls and the bathtubs together and like humping each other in the bathtubs.
Why don't people, like, they talk about it all the time. Why don't they, like, I don't know, do a live stream or make a YouTube video of you playing that game and seeing all that and you explaining, look, I'm signing up as an 8-year-old and look at what I'm seeing in the, like, why don't they do that? Talk is cheap. I'm not saying it doesn't go on, but if I was getting on a podcast and saying that, I would make a YouTube video of me playing the game and showing everybody, look at what's going on, and you'd probably get a lot more outreach if you did that.
In New York, you're like, bro, I really see something.
There's an idea for you.
I need to put you on Twitch. You're a prodigy. I was one of the first Twitch's prodigy. So he put me on that bitch. And yeah, bro, he gave me 100 bands. He said, fuck that hooping shit. Stop hooping. Here's the 100 bands. Start streaming, bro. Yeah, bro. Just like that, gang. That ass, bro. Like, no cap in my rap. We don't lie. I like that a lot. W's in a fucking shot.
Anybody that says to me, oh, these animals were hunting people. No, they were not. Crocodiles are. Crocodiles will hunt human beings. They will lock in outside of a small village or an area that someone's collecting water. They'll spend weeks watching, studying the pattern, learning the behavior, and just wait for the perfect time where they can sink under, sit right there waiting for someone to gather water. They're not distinguishing that from another prey animal. They just know this thing's coming to water here at this pattern, and they will absolutely target target people.
100%. They don't care if you're a person.
In our lifetime, how old will people be living?
I think it's a possibility that we just won't have a cap. My speed of aging is 0.50, which means for every 12 months that pass, I age 6 months. So I'm aging at half the normal speed. So that's been one of our primary goals, is slow down your speed of aging. If I could slow my speed of aging down to 0.25, let's just make it up, then for every year I only age 3 or 4 months. So that's the goal, is slow it down as much as you can. Then whatever you do age, get therapies to reverse that.
Y'all don't find it strange that we are having all of this talk about aliens recently, about UFOs and everything else, and how Trump has ordered for information about UFOs to be released? And then there are rumors going around that he is supposed to make this major announcement, this disclosure, on July the 4th, America's 250th birthday. Let's not even talk about the fact that we have a movie coming out this year called Disclosure Day, a month before July. Something really seems weird. Something really seems off about this whole thing when it comes to all of this talk about UFOs, about aliens. What do they really have planned? I don't know what's going on.
Getting ready to hit that eject button, I think.
There is something bizarre about all of this. And honestly, it is very demonic. It is very demonic, because aliens are demons.
Wasn't nobody gonna play me.
All right, last question here. Is Tupac alive?
He's alive on my playlist.
All right.
What kind of question is
All
that?
right, we'll leave it there.
There you go.
Mr. President,
I enjoyed it, bro.
I appreciate it. Thank you so
Keep
much.
up doing the good work.
Have you ever heard of luckiest unlucky person ever, Ron Selak? In January 1962, he was on a train and it derailed into an icy river. 17 passengers died. He was able to break out, swim to shore with a broken arm in hypothermia. 1 year later, he was on his first and only ever plane ride, and while flying, the back door blew open.
Oh no.
Everyone was sucked out, including him, and he landed on a hay bale. Then in 1966, he had a head-on collision on a mountain curve, and he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He was immediately ejected out of the front window and then landed on a tree branch and watched his car fall off a cliff. 4 years later, while on a transport bus, the bus skidded off the road, went into an icy river. He got out and was able to swim to shore. In 1970, while driving his car, he had an engine failure. The whole car caught on fire, and he was able to get out before the car exploded. And then in 1995, he was hit by a city bus, and then when he went into the road, he was hit by a truck. 2 days after his 73rd birthday, Fran won the lottery for $1.1 million.
Gal Gadot. I don't know, y'all. I think if that was me by the second one, I'm Bubble Boy. Y'all seen the movie Bubble Boy? I'm putting a bubble on me and I ain't going nowhere. I'm door dashing. I'm doing all that. I ain't leaving this house.
Tweeted a bunch of Huawei ads, and I noticed while she's a brand ambassador for Huawei, tweeting ads about how much she loves her Huawei phone. If you look in the details of the tweet, it's always via Twitter for iPhone. She can use an iPhone, I don't care. But I thought it was funny, so I just tweeted it.
It's very funny.
It blew up. Huawei reached out to me like, how did you find this? That's how Twitter works. Like, you can see the data. It's clearly an iPhone. Not only did Gal Gadot block me.
Gal Gadot, the Wonder Woman lady? Wonder Woman, you fake.
Not only did she block me, they deleted like her latest tweets and reposted them from an Android phone, and she's tweeted from an Android phone ever since. I'll give her respect for that.
Out of all the autopsy reports I've done on my channel, my page, this one is definitely going to be the hardest one to get through. This is going to be the autopsy report of Mac Miller. If y'all don't know who Mac Miller is, man, I don't know what you're doing. But Mac Miller passed away at the age of 26, and he passed away 6 years ago. Such a tragic loss. And yeah, let's just get into it. Before I want to get into the disclaimer and say that viewer discretion is advised, this is for educational purposes only. So Mac Miller did pass away due to a rug overdose. He was found in his home in a crouched position. They said that he was basically looked like he was in a praying position. I wanted to show y'all a picture of the position that they said that he was found in. So it basically is going to be this one, which is the bowing one. This is a common position for people to be found in when they do OD. So just keep note of that. There's some people that say that they think he was praying before he passed away, but honestly, with the amount of in his system, it's no way he was doing that. There was also a little bit of BLOOD that was outside of his nose. Other than that, there wasn't a lot of external like wounds or anything of that nature. It seemed like he had passed away, maybe perhaps in his sleep. There was an Instagram post made on his page right before he passed, and even in that video, his like hands were shaking, and he basically that was the last post he made, and after that, it is probably more likely than he passed away right after that video. Such a tragic loss, y'all. This one still to this day still hurts. Rest in peace, Mac Miller, and leave in the comments other autopsy reports y'all want me to do.
You know, to be a prison guard in the United States, you only need to have a GED or be working on your GED and no felony convictions. That's it. I say in the book that one of the things that struck me early on was that the guards have to do mail call every day at 4 o'clock, but usually they didn't. They had a prisoner do mail call. Why? Because the guards couldn't read.
This is in federal prison? They couldn't read? Oh boy. Here you are playing chess and they don't even know what checkers is.
All right, family. There you have today's video. A little shorter today, y'all. A little shorter. We still got 54 minutes, 55 minutes in for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, you know what to do. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, y'all. Not much going on again today, y'all. Nothing, you know. Just get this video out to you guys. I don't know what's gonna happen. We're going to walk. It's finally gonna be about 80 degrees. It's been a while, y'all. It's been a while. I'm tired of the cold. I'm wearing a jacket right now. I'm cold up here in the morning, but this afternoon is supposed to be nice and cool out. So I'm gonna get outside today, y'all. But this is Segovia. I'm signing out of the man cave. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow in the next one. Y'all have a good one. All right. Later.